In this video, I will be discussing the Week 11 homework assignment. So on my screen, you can see that I have a couple of buildings highlighted here. And this is what we're looking at on the screen is actually the OSU-OKC campus that I've zoomed into. And so you can see the campus. And I have just, from the assignment, I just want you to digitize 2 buildings. And I will show you how to do that in this video. So I'm going to take you from the beginning, and right now I am going to remove these layers and delete this building feature class that I've created and start all over again. I am going to start with a new blank map. And what I've done last week, your assignment was to create this OSU-OKC campus geodatabase. It's just an empty geodatabase. And what I did was I copied it from my chapter 11, my data folder, and I've copied it and I've pasted it into my chapter 12, my data folder. So I have this empty geodatabase, and what I've asked you to do is to create a new feature class named buildings. Let me walk you through that. So right click on the geodatabase, the Oklahoma City OSU-OKC campus geodatabase, right click on it, and under new select feature class. The name of it is going to be buildings. The alias will be buildings. We want it to be a Polygon feature. Then hit next. And we want the WGS84 WebMacator auxiliary sphere. And from the video that you saw from last week, I made a mistake of telling you to use this projection when you're creating your geodatabase, and that was incorrect, and it has to be created underneath the feature class. So how you can get to this, if this is not highlighted underneath your favorites already, that is a projected coordinate system. So if you expand projected coordinate system, and then underneath world, and you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see WGS84 WebMacator auxiliary sphere. This is the projection that all of your online mapping programs use. It's what Google Map uses, Bing Maps, and ArcGIS Online uses. And we can default through the XY tolerance. We can default through the database storage configuration. And underneath field names, we need to create 2 new fields. So the first one was building name, so BLDG name. And then we want a text data type. And then we need a building number. And we're just going to leave that as a text data type too, because I think some of the building numbers are alphanumeric. So that's why I'm going with the text data type. And then you just hit finish. And what that will do is that will automatically add that new feature type to your drawing, and it's a blank feature, just like what you did in your chapter 11 lab, or chapter 12 lab, was you created a blank feature class. And now we're going to populate that or add features to that feature class. So what I've asked you to do is, we are now, since that feature class was added to our drawing, we are now actually using the coordinate system was assigned by that first feature class that we've added. So we're using the WebMacator feature coordinate system. So now what I wanted you to do was to add the imagery with labels base map. And you go up to add data, and you select on the down arrow, and underneath add base map, you select imagery with labels and click add. Now that that base map has been added, you are zoomed way out. And what I was explaining for you to do with the go to XY was to be able to zoom into the OSU-OKC campus. I was giving you a lat and long to it. So underneath go to XY, this is on your standard, and this is on your tools toolbar. So you can go to customize, toolbars, and select tools, and which will bring up this toolbar, and you can select on the go to XY. Now underneath this, I've given you your latitude and longitude in degrees, minutes, seconds. So you'll need to change your units to degrees, minutes, seconds. And then you can punch in 35, 28, 31.01, north. Oops, I'm sorry, that's longitude. Let me cut that, paste that over here. And the longitude is 97, 34, 55.617, and this is a west longitude. And you hit enter, and go to the zoom to button, click on the zoom to button. And it will take a little bit to zoom to it, depending on the speed of your machine. Now, I got that far, and you might just have to zoom in a little bit more and keep selecting your zoom to, and I don't know why it's not. I had this issue earlier. I'm not quite sure why it's not zooming to that. Zooming closer. The flash button does the same thing what the zoom to button was kind of doing, but that was kind of center. The zoom to is kind of centering it in your screen. So now you can start to see the campus. Zoom in a little bit more. And we can close this dialog. So now, and I'll just open this just to show you. There. Okay. So now we are in the we are zoomed to the campus, and I want you to create to digitize the exteriors of two buildings. And so I will show you how I would do that. So we need to start an editing session. Start editing. And this is just going to be just like what you did when editing the parcels, creating new parcels in the exercise 11. Start editing. We don't really need to, the snapping won't matter because there's nothing to snap to, but we need to select on create features, highlight our buildings, and I'm going to choose a polygon because I'm going to outline this building, the center building. And how I do that is I'd actually start, because I'm not sure from, you can see the image has got a little bit of parallax in it. That's the lean, the way the buildings look like they're leaning because they're not centered, or they're not right on nadir of the camera of the image itself, the center point of the image. So they're off a little bit from that center point, which creates something called parallax, which is, like, looks like your buildings are leaning. So what I like to do is I will actually digitize the top of the roof, and then I will move that down to the ground, because we can see here, this is where actually the bottom of the where the building footprint is. And so I will start with an editing session, and I'm going to start with my straight line segment. So I'm going to choose this corner right here, and then I'm going to choose this corner right here, and you can tell that this building continues on to right about here. And then I'm going to choose another straight segment before it goes into a little arc. And so then I'm going to choose my arc button, and I'm going to draw an arc. So there's my starting point, the red one, and I'm going to choose my ending point over here. Kind of draw that in, just kind of eyeball it. This is not rocket science. And then there's my other end of my arc. I'm going to kind of maybe zoom in a little bit more there. Kind of center it up. And I'm going to go back to my straight feature. It looks like I might have a little bit of a jog here. Now, it helps to have your feature, so you can see through your feature, your transparency set a little bit, but which I've done, and you may not. But like I said, this is not rocket science. Oops. I'll need to edit that a little bit. Coming down there to that point, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to do another arc here. And that looks like about where my endpoint is. Maybe right there. Oops, a little right there. Straight line segment. It's about like right there. Because I can see through this building here. That's why it helps a little bit to have your transparency set. And I'm going to finish my sketch. Right click and hit finish sketch. Now, I've made a mistake earlier on one of these, and I want to fix that. So while this is selected, I'm going to select my edit vertices, and you can see my nodes pop up. And I want to drag that a little bit over. I'm going to need to zoom in on it. And I want to move that a little bit like right to there. Right click and hit finish sketch. And make sure you when you right click that you're on your there. Start. I want to save my edits. So there's my first building. Now I am going to, now I need to move this building over to where it's actually matches the footprint on the ground. So underneath editor, I'm going to hit start editing again. I'm going to choose my editing tool, and I'm going to select my feature. And you can see the little, the move button has come up, and I'm just going to press my my left click button, and I'm just going to move it to about to where it is on the ground. click Editor and hit Save Edits. And I will stop it. So there's the first. Now let me come in here and make that a little bit more transparent. So I'm going to right click on my buildings. I'm going to go to Properties, underneath Display. I'm going to turn the transparency on. I'm going to say 50%. So now we can see through that a much better. And I will choose this building next to digitize. So underneath Editor, I'm going to start a new editing session. Then I need to go to Create Features, select my buildings. This time I'm going to select my polygon construction, my rectangle construction. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this building. I am going to select that corner. I am going to come up here and select the middle of that. And then I'm going to drag all the way over. And that finishes that rectangle. Now I want to come back over here to my Edit tool, select it because I want to move this to the ground. And so I'm going to slide it over a little bit to where it looks like where the building footprint is on the ground. Editor. I can hit Stop Editing, and yes, I want to save my edits. Click Save. And that is all I need you to do. Next week, I will get the building names and numbers, and I will add that to next week's assignment. So we can just come in here to the buildings, and we can edit. We can edit the attributes on those. Right click on buildings. Let's go to our attribute table, and then we can edit our building names and numbers. And that will be next week. That's all I need you to do, and then you can just submit your building feature class, and I will show you how to do that. File, exit. Since you saved your feature class information, that stores it into the geodatabase, so we don't need to worry about saving any changes to our map. So I can click No. And then underneath week 11, zoom to where you have saved your, navigate to where you have saved your geodatabase underneath your Windows Explorer. And you can see here I'm underneath my week 11 where I save my geodatabase, and here it is, Oklahoma City, OSU-OKC campus GDB, which is your geodatabase, and you can right click on it. It's just a folder. You can right click on it and select Send to Compressed Zip Folder, and then you can submit this, which will contain your buildings feature class, to the week 11 homework Dropbox. And that will conclude your homework for week 11. Thanks.